Okay, Coach, on making your selections this year for the Shrine Bowl, were you gearing these picks toward any certain style of offense?
Oh yeah, we're going to run the wing T, so we had to do it. Make a few little adjustments for that. And there's a couple positions that you need to have a little bit of size and so forth on. But basically, with the exception of just a few, pretty much the same.
Same thing defensively.
Yeah. Well, everybody's locked into a 5-2, so they're all doing the same thing. They're getting cover corners and safeties and so forth.
Talk about the talent level that you think you have from these selections this year.
Well, let's see. We've got 400 teams with probably 50 kids on each team, so there's some talent out there, and we worked hard to find it, and it's a tough job. I mean, you have that many players that are that good and talented, then you got to get in there and sort them out. So I feel certain that we got 44 pretty good ones.
Talk about a couple players on each side of the ball that kind of stand out on this roster to you.
First of all, Robert Crisp, I think he's the number one lineman in North Carolina, and big, strong fella who's a very good aggressive blocker, and we expect a lot out of him. And Kevin Parks for West Rowan, he's on schedule to has a pretty good chance of breaking the state record in rushing, which is a tremendous feat. And we got our fingers crossed, but he's got a pretty good shot at it. Keenan Allen from North Guilford, he's just a great defensive back. A lot of interceptions. He'll come up and hit you. And we just got a bunch of kids. I hate to start going down, but when you pick 44, I think all 44 are going to be very good talents.
I guess, Coach, you talked about how difficult this process is. Just talk about some of the things that go into that, coaches, and you've got your season to deal with.
Oh yeah, and it's tough because it is time consuming. There's a lot of film, and everybody's got a player who is Superman and not to be there, but then all of a sudden you look at him and say, boy, this is not that caliber, and then you got so many that are. Then it gets tough, and you got to weed them out, and it's a hard process. It is, and you're going to miss them. You got a few highlights in a few games, and there are going to be some that after that really stand out. But you do the best you can.
Of course, South Carolina in the past or over this series has had the upper hand. They won last year, of course. During the week of preparation, is it more about making sure these kids are ready to do their assignments, or is it also a little bit of mix in about the series history and trying to get that stopped or turned around a little bit?
You got 4 days. I mean, the last days of walkthroughs and stuff, so you really got 4 days to see what kind of impact you can make, and I'm not sure. I think mostly it's going to be, hey, your selection and then your package, what you're doing, and how they best adapt to it, if they can pick it up quickly. And usually the game hangs on a break or two, a block punt, a bad snap, something like that.
Talk about up front on both sides. You want to run the wing T offensively, so the guys that you have across the line, do you feel like those are the guys that are going to be able to open those holes up and keep those South Carolina guys?
I hope. I hope. It's a system where you have to block. I mean, there's a lot of deception in it, but basically, like all systems, you got to get in there, move some bodies around, and it gets to be a little trench fight. And believe it or not, that's where all the games are decided. And hopefully, we can match up. But it's the big boys up front on both sides of the ball that determine the game. Yeah, let me mention one or two things. I want to mention something about my staff because they're all nice guys. I think the kids will enjoy them, but they're all very successful. Anthony Barber from Smithfield. We got Steve Davis, who's defending state champ and probably got a good shot at it again this year. We got Lennon Fitch from East Baden, currently undefeated. Robbie Harris from Eastern Alamance, currently undefeated. Scott Young, West Rowan, undefeated, and so we've got 4 undefeated coaches there, and then we have Mike Newson, who is also undefeated, but ranked number 1 in the state, and also ranked very high nationally. So, you know, I am very proud and fortunate to have such a good staff, and believe me, they're doing the work.